I said then, dearest, since 'tis so, since now at length my fate I know, since nothing all my love avails, since all my life seemed meant for fails, since this was written and needs must be, my whole heart rises up to bless your name in pride and thankfulness. Take back the hope you gave, I claim, only a memory of the same, and this beside, if you will not blame, your leave for one more last ride with me. We kick off with a garbled signal being picked up in space, a distorted and impenetrable collection of images and sounds, but enough about UPN. Harry says that this mess is coming over the same relay network they used to send the Doctor to the Alpha Quadrant in Message in a Bottle, much to the annoyance of the Hirogen, you'll recall. Harry is able to play enough to show that it's from Starfleet, and it's got critical information. But that's all. Messages always break when they get to the stuff that you actually need to know. Vacate the building, now, by the exit only. I repeat, use only the or you will be in life-threatening danger. Harry says it's stuck, so they need to head to the nearest relay with a broom handle to unclog it. Only the Hirogen hear this bit too, and they're heading that way to show how pissed off they are. So after this guy applies some whiteout to his helmet, we jump past the titles, where everyone starts speculating on what Starfleet has to tell them that's so important. Maybe there's new technology, or a stable wormhole, or a big mallet to beat some sense into themselves. Anything's possible. Chakotay points out the obvious emotional problem this creates. After so many years, it's likely most, if not all, of their friends and loved ones gave up, grieved, and then moved on. Learning they're alive but unfathomably far away is just as likely to reopen old wounds. Well, sucks to be them. We got attacked by giant viruses and dinosaur people. Things are tough all over. The Doctor pays a house call on Seven after she skipped her weekly physical. She's working on trying to retrieve the data. In fact, she hasn't regenerated this whole time, putting her work before her health like, me. Shit. While they discuss Seven's molasses in January rate of progress on the data, and the Doctor's certainty that he'll be a hero thanks to what he did last episode, the ship shakes to remind them that plot demons run this show, not their hopes and dreams. Harry says that it's gravitational fluctuations or something coming from that relay that they're flying towards, even though it's still 2 light years away. Not long after that, they pick up a ship that's adrift with a corpse on board, if you can even call it a corpse.
He appears to have suffered a complete osteotomy. He's been gutted. Apparently some kind of surgical procedure was used to remove the entire skeleton, as well as the musculature, the ligaments and tendons, and the internal organs.
You just listed 90% of the contents of a body? Even serial killers normally don't get this souvenir happy. Yeah, this isn't a cadaver. This is upholstery that needs a little bit of vacuuming, that's all. Well, there's nothing we can do but put this back and move on. And try not to get osteoectomied or whatever. The trip is uneventful, and the relay station turns out to be 100,000 years old, but they got the extended warranty. It's built around a tiny black hole, hence the reason a whole lot of shaking's going on. But the how doesn't matter. It's the prize inside. Letters from home. But they need to get it out of there and stitch it all together. You don't want someone sexting mix in with word on how your mom's arthritis is doing. That's just messed up. Janeway takes the chance, considering that this might also contain a plan for getting back. So she talks with Seven about what she thinks of this. Right now, Seven feels nothing. But the suggestion that maybe she's got family on Earth makes her reconsider. She's going to need to crash on somebody's couch after all. It's not long before Seven says that in order to rescue as much as they can, they'll need to head to the relay itself, and that's not safe to do with Voyager. Janeway tells her to bring Tuvok along. After all, he'll bring valuable experience, and he always welcomes the chance of getting as far from Neelix as possible. But during the trip, Seven asks if sending at least 2 people is what Janeway usually does, since she's wondering if this is a sign her captain doesn't trust her. But not to worry, Tuvok assures her, she no more mistrusts Seven than she does anyone else. And please ignore the strange bump under the skin behind your left ear. Good news, bad news time. Good news is that we've sent out the tech that should sort out the problem for getting the message out. Bad news is that a ship sends out a scan that disrupts their systems, quickly leaving them helpless. They try luring the ship closer to the station in the hopes that it might be damaged by those gravitational eddy things, but alas, even Technobabble can't get them out of this jam. They wake up to find themselves firmly bound in anticipation of the Osteopteryx thing, but not before the big guy asks why they were messing with the relays. So they explain, but he's not satisfied with that answer. Oh, interrogation by clown makeup? These people haven't even heard of the Geneva Convention.
I've located their ship.
Damn, didn't get a good look at Seven until now. I mean, that's not my kink, but I'm willing to give the director a chance to present his case. There's 3 more Hirogen ships on the way, but this guy wants to destroy Voyager first. The trophies from Seven and Tuvok will then be unique, which is all that matters to this guy. Besides not poking around the relays, of course. He takes time out to see what he's going to get out of them, but from Seven, all he's going to get right now is sass about how they're just big dumb rubes. So, she's going to get to watch while Tuvok gets it first.
I suggest you think carefully about your decision. If you kill us, our captain will hunt you down and show no mercy.
He knows me so well. After he tells Voyager to leave, Janeway decides to do what's always good in this situation. If somebody's mad at you for messing with their stuff, mess with it even more. They're going to monkey with the containment used to keep the Singularity's gravity down to a reasonable level, to send a message to back off. But they send a message back in the form of energy blasts. Blasts that start not just whooping Voyager's ass, but further destabilize the containment field. Until finally... Yeah, that one's on you, Lobo, and the serial number went right into that black hole. Good luck getting a claim on it now. Seven and Tuvok managed to get beamed out, but the whole relay network gets knocked out thanks to this, and all Torres was able to salvage was most of the Starfleet message. That's the one that comes up at the end of the season with Hope and Fear. And she gets a few more of the letters. While the Hirogen are an okay baddie of the week, it's the humanity that Jerry Taylor brings to this episode that really elevates it, and the reason why it gets a score of 7 out of 10. The letters allow us to... Wait, we didn't actually get to the letters, did we? Alright, sorry. Let's back this train up and try it again. The first person who gets a letter, that we see anyway, is Chakotay from someone in the Maquis. Ah boy. Current events are not going to be encouraging. Nilix drops off Tuvok's next, haranguing him to read it until he admits that, yeah, I already did. Oh yeah, just the first few lines, he said, like the way that a dog will stop after only one bite of a steak. Tuvok finally permits him to read the letter aloud, since it'll end this encounter faster. Janeway gets one too, from Mark. Oh, remember him? Well, the frown on her face says, this is not good news. Yeah, to say the least. The last messenger who delivered news like this got kicked down a Spartan well. Chakotay's news for Torres isn't much better. He talks about how the Dominion wiped out the Maquis. The only survivors now are the ones already in prison.
I will make someone pay, I swear I will.
Yeah, the Hirogen picked the wrong day to mess with her. We'll take your bones, muscles, and organs and hang them on the wall. What do you say to that? I'll just settle for your balls. I'm hopeful that mine is the only Christmas show that will have that line today. I like to give back a little whenever I can. Harry naturally is champing at the bit to get his letter, so he's shocked that Tom couldn't give less of a shit about it. Of course it's Tom. He might be trying to duck a paternity letter. Alas, it seems that Harry is going to get skipped this round.
You shouldn't get your hopes up, Harry. No hopes, no disappointments.
When you've been to prison, Harry, you learn to give up hope that things will get better. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to get back to my career as an ace pilot. I want to have enough time tonight to have hot Klingon sex with my adventurous girlfriend. Let's go looking for joy this way, shall we?
Disappointed?
Of course not. Would you stop that? I've told you there's nothing between us.
I know there's nothing between you. It's purely a one-way attraction.
There is nothing in any letter that is going to make all the abuse he goes through worth it. She clearly feels like a bit of a tool when she realizes Harry only came in here to see if there might be a letter from home, and that she has to tell him, the guy who wants to get home the most, no. It's not like shooting Old Yeller, because at least Old Yeller was put out of his misery with that. Tom ironically soon gets a call from Torres. There's a letter for him coming in, and after some joking around while it's being pieced together, he admits he doesn't care about what's going on back home anymore. What he has now is better than anything, especially considering this is his father we're talking about. Torres tries to get him to see the potential positive, that hope thing again, which he once again spurs. So she shows him what hopelessness really looks like when she mentions her friends are all dead. The cause they fought for is now lost. So yeah, he feels like a bit of an asshole. As for Janeway, she's lost herself in her study of the relay station and only goes to the topic of the letter when Chakotay asks her directly about it. Yeah, it's from Mark, and yeah, he's moved on. Which, hey, considering some of the borderline fanfic things that she's gotten up to, it's not too surprising. I mean, that whole Resolutions episode on the golf course planet particularly jumps to my mind.
Well, I knew he'd eventually move on with his life. But there was such a finality to that letter.
And speaking of finality, this is when all the Hirogen hijinks happened, though one of the last letters pulled out of there was for Harry from his parents. Sometimes the sun shines on a dog's backside. Plus, they got out of the scrape with the Hirogen, the ship not too badly damaged, and, of course, reparable like it always is. And as Janeway muses about the fact that she no longer has Mark as a safety net, there's a realization that despite that setback, they've won a small victory. I mean, the messages sent home are not nothing, or what's come back to reassure them. Like a ghost that has knocked over a picture frame just to say, I'm not gone yet, and have it be understood. Tom Paris has come around to embrace hope like the others, the renewal, the refreshing of spirit, to do what explorers were born to do when the horses have been watered and the sun has risen. What if we still ride on, we two, with life forever old yet new, change not in kind but in degree, the instant made eternity, and heaven just proved that I and she ride together, forever ride.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!
I'm afraid.